Hey, sports fans, welcome to the MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, brought to you by Great Southern Bank. Great Southern Bank, with more than 100 locations in 6 states. Great Southern Bank, member FDIC, and they understand what really matters. Also presented by Doak Propane in Bolivar, Missouri. For all your propane needs in Polk County and surrounding counties, see the folks at Doak. Also presented by Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks, sponsoring our male and female athletes of the week throughout the high school season. We go now down to the Class 3 state football champions, Central Park Hills Rebels, and head coach Corey Schweiss. And Coach Schweiss, I really appreciate you setting this up and being part of the show a few times this year.
Hey, it's no problem. Anytime we can kind of advertise our program and our guys, I look forward to it.
Coach, we spoke back on, I believe, the 20, maybe mid 20s there in September, right after that week 3 game, I believe, or week 4 game, and kind of had some injuries and you kind of dropped 3 in a row there, in the middle of the season. You got guys healthy and you went on a run, kind of put a bow on this season for the Rebels.
Well, it was a season filled with adversity for sure. We had high expectations. We thought we were probably the best team in Class 3 the last couple of years. If you take Cardinal Ritter and St. Mary's out of the equation, Valley Catholic was in there, and we're familiar with them. But we thought, along with Valley, that we were probably two of the top teams in Class 3. So coming into this year, Cardinal Ritter and St. Mary's were gone. Valley had moved down to Class 2. We thought coming into the season that we probably should be the favorite, just because we've been really good the last few years, and we had a lot of our guys returning. So, it was a season at the beginning filled with high expectations for sure. And then we started playing, and everything was going fine. We had some couple tough teams on our schedule. We start the season with Poplar Bluff, a pretty good Class 5 school, and then Cape Central, another really good Class 5 school in week 4. And then that's kind of when the injuries started happening for us. Kaysen, our all-state quarterback, dislocated his elbow. Fortunately, it was his non-throwing elbow. We didn't know at that time how long he was going to be out, but that kind of was a big hit on us. And the same game, Cannon here got his ankle kind of rolled up on, and he had to miss a couple games as well. So, while that was all going on, our center, Logan Murray, had turf toe that he was battling. We had our left guard, Hayden Carver, had to miss a couple games there in the middle as well. So we had a lot of injuries. Matt Mannion ended up being out again for the whole year. So we were battling a lot of injuries at that particular time, and we were not that deep, to be honest with you. We had a lot of seniors. All of them that were injured were kind of seniors. And what it did do, though, it kind of, it really showed us that, that we were vulnerable. And I think that was a good thing down the stretch. We were not invincible. I think, our guys were used to winning football games, and they're used to winning really any sport that they've been playing the last few years. And that adversity ended up paying off in the long run. We got our guys back week 7. Kaysen come back. Really only missed those 3 games with the dislocated elbow. He had missed 1 game earlier with an illness, but he came back, and we got Cannon back about the same time, and then Logan started getting better, and everybody just started getting better at the right time, and we remained healthy the rest of the year, and we were able to go on a run. And I had a long talk with Nathan, after that week 6 game, and because a lot of us weren't used to losing, and it's been a long time since our program lost 3 games in a season, much less 3 games in a row. And it was taking its toll. I could tell it was taking its toll on our guys, our coaching staff as well. But we're a big believer in God in this program, and I think that everything happens for a reason. We didn't really know what that was at the time, but we found some guys while we were going through all that adversity. We found some guys that really helped us down the stretch. That maybe wouldn't have gotten noticed as much. And I think, all that adversity obviously helped us go all the way and win the state championship.
outstanding. And then you come back, you get Fredericktown, and then you win the last 8 games in a row. Take us through that Class 3 tournament. You get Herculaneum and then St. Genevieve and then Borgia. Well, then you get to a very good Blair Oaks team who's got that experience, having won state titles, been in state championship games. 48-43, an exciting game for a fan. Maybe not so much for a coaching staff, but as a fan, really enjoyed watching that game. Kind of take us through that contest.
Well, before I can start talking about Blair Oaks, I'll say this. I think the St. Genevieve District Championship game when that was one of the teams we had lost to when we were going through our injuries, and we had lost to them 21-20. And then in that district championship game, I think that was kind of a statement game for us. I think that's when everybody realized, okay, we are a different team, obviously, with all of our guys, because I think we were up close to 50 points at halftime in that one, to a team that we had lost to. So I think everybody at that point kind of realized, okay, they did lose 3 games, but this is a totally different team. And I think that even helped the mindset of our guys, the way that we came out in that district championship game and just kind of handled the business. And then Borgia was a really, formidable opponent, obviously a Hall of Fame coach. They did a great job. They had some really good players on that team. And that wasn't an easy game for us. We actually we had a lead at halftime, but they scored on their first possession in the second half to take the lead on us. So we did have a little adversity in that game as well. So, we ended the game. Cannon and Job ended up with pick sixes to end that game, and the score looked a little lopsided. I think it ended up 50-28, but it was closer than the score was. So we had to handle some adversity in that game, which kind of was the motto of our season, really, after the adversity that we handled, that we had in the middle of our season. And then all 3 of the games, quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals, all had a lot of adversity in all of them. Then we get to the Blair Oaks game that you alluded to. We knew it was really important. I know the coaching staff obviously knew what Blair Oaks was about. I don't know if our players, really knew like the tradition and stuff that Blair Oaks was or that they had, but the coaching staff did. And I noticed that our players were not intimidated by any means of their program and having to go there. And everybody, the word was, going there, it's hard to beat Blair Oaks at Blair Oaks. And, if you look at the Cal Preps website, which a lot of people do, it had us as 17-point underdogs. But we knew that, all that stuff that goes into that was figuring in our 3 losses, and those 3 losses were not us. So we felt good about it. We knew that they were a really good football team. I had went up and watched them in person the Friday night before at Westminster, and I knew they were good. Obviously, Teddy LePage is a Hall of Fame coach as well. So, that game we thought it was important to get off to a fast start, and obviously we did that. We got out to a 42-14 lead, which was obviously critical in us hanging on because they play fast. They played a lot faster than any team we had played this year. We like to play fast, and we knew we couldn't in that game. Just because we have a lot of two-way players, and we were able to hold on. It wasn't easy, but again, I also think that we were a fumble recovery away from, maybe getting a turbo clock in the third quarter in that game, which really would have changed everything because, when we were up 42-14, we on a 4th and short, we stopped them and created a fumble, and we had a couple chances to get on that ball. If we would have got that one and been able to go score, we could have maybe made it 35 and got that clock running, which would have really changed things. But it didn't, and we were able to, again, have a lot of adversity and hang on to that game, even though Blair Oaks made a valiant effort at the end of that ball game to come back.
So then you end up with Seneca, who had been ranked number 1, predominantly the entire season there in Class 3, undefeated. They had beaten an outstanding Lamar team. They had beaten a very good Nevada team. What did you know about Seneca going in, and what do you feel like was the difference in that game?
These guys will probably laugh because, we had talked all week about how physical Seneca was, and I think they were kind of, they were kind of mad at us, I think, a little bit because we were, kept talking about how physical they are. And I think it was kind of a slap in these guys' face because they felt like they're a pretty physical football team too. A lot of people look at us and don't think about physicality. They see us and they see us throwing the ball all over the place, and our receivers making plays and quarterbacks making plays. And but when we had to, we were pretty darn physical too. But that was the thing that kind of stood out to us in that Big 8 conference down there, is that Seneca was a physical football team. So we knew going into that we were going to have to match their physicality in order to win the football game.
Kind of take us through that game. It's 48-34 is the final, but maybe even a little closer than that in this game as well.
Yeah, again, we got out to a 26-0 start. We scored touchdowns on our first 4 possessions and held them on their first 3. So we had a 26-0 lead. We felt really good about it, and they were able to score there before halftime to make it 26-6. We were able to march it back down the field and score again, but it got called back on a penalty. That kind of hurt us, I think. We still felt good going in up 20 at halftime, but getting that touchdown called back before half, we kind of felt like that could have not necessarily been a nail in the coffin, but if you're going up 4 scores instead of 3 in a halftime, you're feeling pretty good about things. But it is what it is, and we ended up getting that one called back. And then they come out and scored. Really, the third quarter, they would score, we would match it type deal. We felt like we were in control of that game the entire time. It just was, I think they did get a possession there in the fourth quarter where it was a 1-score game, and they had a chance to come down and tie it. But our defense, it's kind of funny. Our defense played really, really good at the beginning of that game, or really well at the beginning of that game, and they kind of in the middle there, we kind of lost it a little bit. And then when we had to be good again at the end of the game to seal it up in both the Blair Oaks game and the Seneca game, we were able to do that. We play a lot of guys both ways, and it seemed like our guys, when they did want to try to take a break or get a little bit of a breather, it seemed like they did it more on the defensive side for whatever reason than on the offensive side, especially when we were getting, up by several scores. And against good football teams, you take breaks, they're going to exploit that. And, we just still felt better with those guys in the game. But you could tell, we had guys with their hands on their hips, hands on their knees, and in the late third quarter and fourth quarter of those football games, and you could tell it was starting to take a toll on us. And again, we were able to hold on both of those games. We still came up with big stops when we had to at the end of those games. Like our kids, it's almost like they could flip a switch and just be who they wanted to be whenever they wanted to be them. And sometimes that gets aggravating as a coach. You don't want them to flip that switch. You don't ever want them to flip that switch off. But getting those big leads in both of those games, I think our kids almost, I don't want to say took it for granted, but they, I do think that they maybe kind of took a deep breath at, different points of those games. But again, at the end, they were able to regroup and get stops when they needed to get stops.
Again, we're visiting with Class 3 football state champion Central Park Hills Rebels and head coach Corey Schweiss. And here's part of our LiUNA Laborers Local 663 Team of the Week in the state of Missouri. LiUNA Laborers Local 663 reminding all of us to drive safely in work zones. Those folks want to go home to their families as well. Coach, you've got 3 of your captains there in front of you. We'll start with Nathan. Tell us a little bit about Nathan Whitehold and what he does for you.
Well, Nathan was he was kind of our rock. He was a defensive end and offensive right tackle for us. He actually started left tackle last year. With Kaysen being left-handed, we moved him to the right tackle to protect his blind side. But, he was just a phenomenal player for us all year, a phenomenal leader. He was one of those guys. We do a lot of things with our defensive linemen, and a lot of times they don't get credit for the things that they do within the scheme that we play. And, he was so good that we almost had to change a little bit of what we do at times because we couldn't just sacrifice Nathan. He was too good. So there were times when in other times during the year and other years, we would take the guy playing his position, and we would just basically sacrifice him to try to make the ball bounce or get the ball to our linebackers, safeties, whoever. But, we weren't good enough all the time defensively to do that this year. And, Nathan was good enough where he could actually do what we needed him to do and then still make plays on top of it, which so we gave him a little bit more freedom defensively than a lot of defensive players that play his position over the last few years. But he was a stud on both sides of the ball for us, and a big reason, obviously, why we won the state championship.
Nathan, first off, on behalf of LiUNA Labor's Local 663, congratulations for being part of the Team of the Week.
Thank you, sir.
Coach, or Nathan, and just put the season kind of in, put a bow around it, so to speak, from your point of view. You went through the injuries, you lost the 3 in a row. At what point do you feel like you kind of got it, the reins kind of reined in and kind of turned it back around?
Well, I can tell you, just like Coach was saying, the adversity that we struck through that 3 weeks of, really bad injuries. I remember my point of view from that talk was after the game, I just remember like I was tearing up a little and just thinking like it was like a passion in me died, thinking like, wow, we can't beat these teams. How are we supposed to advance to far in the playoffs and do the things we wanted? And then I don't know, one of the big things on our team is God. And I just remember Coach telling me the famous line to trust the process that we have on the back of our hoodies and everything. And wasn't until around, I'd say, the Dexter game where we beat the, they were ranking them as I'm pretty sure #1 in our district. And I'm pretty sure the score was we running clocked them. And, so it's about at that game where I, kind of realized that our team was fully back. We were in prime shape, and I was feeling really confident in our playoff run.
What, going into the state semifinal and the state champion, well, how did you kind of get prepared mentally and physically for those 2 games?
Well, the physical aspect of it was, I was being very careful what, I was doing with my body and stuff, making sure it wasn't, getting too beat up and taking care of myself, so that be 100% for our team. And, but the mental aspect was probably one of the biggest things. And one of those being just how our defensive ends play. Me and Logan Murray, he really turned up this year. And Coach Jones, our defensive coach, kind of had it designed. Always really has had it designed to where our job is to make the ball bounce through closing down. And one of the big things is just preparing mentally through those practice weeks and what your job is, and just making sure, watching tons of film and everything. It was the biggest mental aspect and challenge I've ever faced, really.
Nathan, if you could go back, the 18 or 19-year-old Nathan could go back to maybe when you were in the 8th grade and give yourself some advice based on what you know now, what advice would you give that 12 or 13-year-old Nathan Weinhold?
Well, I'd probably first tell him to play basketball, because I did kind of spring up and hide a little. But other than that, it would just be to I'd probably tell him that whenever later in life things get tough, and you just gotta learn to strive with what you know, and continue to grow in every way whenever you get the opportunity. That'd really be it right there.
Now you're a senior and a senior captain. What plans, if any, do you have for next year?
Well, right now, I'm just kind of an open book with, as far as college goes and stuff. I'm going to be making my highlight tape and stuff and trying to reach out to more coaches here soon. But really the plan for me there is, I'd love to play football somewhere. Just the big thing is really want a school that is really backed up by a good staff and going to give me the materials I need for my education and everything, and really be good with working with me.
Any particular area of study that you're interested in?
Yeah, I'm really into the physical therapy type things, and kind of, just really things that you train the body through, working out and stuff, kind of like, and recovery and everything. I really like helping out people with that kind of stuff.
Very good. Well, Nathan, again, congratulations on a state championship and being part of the LiUNA Labor's Local 663 Team of the Week.
Thank you, sir. It's an honor.
And, Coach, we've got Cannon next. Tell us a little bit about Cannon.
Cannon was, he was a wide receiver for us. I think he ended up with over 1,400 yards receiving, which was our school record. Also, was a first-team All-State guy. Also played nickel for us, which he actually had to play corner, had to play some nickel, had to play some safety. He had to do a lot of different things, especially when Kaysen was out those weeks. We kind of had to put him wherever would help our team best at that particular time. He was, in my opinion, he was probably an all-state kid last year. They got snubbed. He was really a corner for us defensively last year as well as receiver. And then we graduated our nickel, and our nickel has to be a defensive back type of guy that can play run and pass. And Cannon proved last year at the corner position he'd be obviously pretty able to do those things. So we moved him to the nickel spot. We thought that would be a great spot for him. He played a great state championship game at that position. But he was obviously one of our main guys as far as scoring the football this year, big play guy. Kaysen did a good job getting him the ball in space, and every time he got the ball in space, it seemed like good things were going to happen. So, he was definitely one of our main dudes this year.
Cannon, Harlow, again, on behalf of LiUNA Labor's Local 663, congratulations on being part of the Team of the Week.
Thank you, sir.
And Cannon, tell us a little bit defensively. First off, we'll talk about the defensive side of the ball. What are some things that you're paying particular attention to as the offense lines up? What are you looking for? Do you have, are there keys that you're focused on?
Yeah, I definitely, when I look at the tackle to see if I get a down block or a pass, then that'll put me in the right position. So after that, I pretty much look at the quarterback. But other than that, not much.
And offensively, tell us about your role and responsibility there on the offensive side of the football.
Pretty much just make big plays. I mean, Coach Weiss calls the right plays for me and just make it happen. I got a really good quarterback and a really good line to block for me. So, I mean, he uses me in the running back a little bit, but other than that, I got a really good team to help me out.
You ever find yourself like lobbying coaches during the game for certain plays? You have a group of plays that, because being a quarterback myself at the high school level, I would get receivers that would say, "Hey, you need to audible to this and audible to that." And I had a guy that went to Brigham Young, and so I did whatever he said. He said, "Yeah, because you just throw it up and goes and gets it." But I mean, did you have favorite plays that you were kind of lobbying for?
Yeah, I was telling Coach Weiss a lot in that state championship game to give me a wheel, but I never got one. It's all right though. I really like a jig route. I don't know if you know what that. I'm sure you know what that is. I really like those. Some across the middle, or some just anything to give me the ball quick and get into space. But yeah, I did say that to Coach Weiss a lot.
Take us through. You get injured. In week 4, I believe. What was that like, having to sit out that game, 2.5 games or game and a half, and a lot of times, and I went through it with an injury where I learned more about the game and more about myself because I was looking at it through a different set of eyes. What did you learn at that time where you're kind of rehabbing, trying to get back? What did you learn about yourself and maybe even about the game?
Well, I mean, it was really tough because it was my first time ever being injured before, so I wouldn't really experience anything like that. But I really didn't like being on the sidelines and watching our team be down like that. So I really learned that we needed that. We needed those losses to give us some adversity. When adversity hit, we knew how to overcome it since those losses. So I really learned that, and I mean, just that our team, it really brought us together. That's all I really learned from that.
As you look back at your high school career, being a senior as well, Is there maybe one or two games that you'd like to, or maybe a handful of games you'd like to go back and play again? Maybe it's a game that you felt like got away from you, or you dropped a pass, or maybe it was just a state championship game like you just played against Seneca, where hey, that was such an awesome feeling. I'd like to go back and play that again. Are there games that you can remember, in your high school career you'd like to go back and play again?
Yeah, Cardinal Ritter last year, quarterfinal game, 4th and 7. I still have nightmares about it. I told Coach Schweiss to give me a post route. I beat my guy. The ball came wide open for a touchdown in the post. Dropped it because I couldn't see the ball in the sun. And that could have tied the game up. But yeah, that still gives me nightmares. But any game that I'd like to go back and play again for fun was definitely the Blair Oaks game. I love that game. It was just the intensity and everything.
Outstanding. Well, you being a senior as well, what do you have planned for next year, if any?
I'm going to run track at Mizzou.
Okay. What events?
I'm going to do the decathlon probably.
Wow. All right. That's impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, outstanding. And again, Cannon, congratulations on behalf of LiUNA Labor's Local 663 being part of the team of the week.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet. Coach, Sammy Calloway is alongside as well. Tell us a little bit about Sammy.
So Sammy, Sammy was a returning All-State guy for us. I thought, coming into this season, he was going to be really the anchor and the glue on both sides of our line, along with Nathan here, to kind of basically lead us where we needed to go. And he did that. He was our right guard. Him and Nathan together on that right side were pretty impressive. Kaysen threw the ball a ton this year and didn't get sacked very much. Now, Kaysen was also very mobile, and that helped. But these guys did an awesome job protecting him. And then when we did need to run the ball, we did a pretty good job running it. People probably don't give us credit for us running the ball because we just didn't do it very much. But we still averaged a lot per carry when we did run the football, and these guys were a big reason why. Now on the defensive side, we expected Sammy to be, kind of all everything up there on the defensive line this year. And when we were going through all those injuries, again with the adversity that we faced, one of the things that come out of that was we moved Sammy back to middle linebacker, and I think that ended up being a really good move for our defense. We were kind of a middle linebacker short of being a pretty good defense, but we hated to. We call it robbing Peter to pay Paul. We really didn't want to move Sammy off the defensive line because he was really valuable up there and understood everything that we do, and we could move him to different spots on the D line and not have to worry about anything because he was so valuable. But we moved him back to linebacker, and it really solidified that part of our defense. And we were able to utilize other guys up front to kind of take up blocks, clog holes, basically be sacrificial. Again, kind of like the thing I talked about with Nathan a while ago, you hate to sacrifice really good players within the scheme of your defense, and that's what was happening a lot with these two guys. So we had to kind of, change our philosophy a little bit and make personnel moves. One of those was to move Sammy back and try to move other guys to his position on defense and let Sammy be more of a playmaker on our defense instead of just kind of doing a job clogging holes and making him bounce to other guys. We needed him to be one of the guys we were bouncing it to. So that move helped us, and obviously I don't think if the adversity happens in the middle of the year that move ever happens. So I think again that was one of the reasons that led us to our state championship.
Sammy, first off, also congratulations on behalf of LiUNA Labor's Local 663 on being named part of the team of the week.
Thank you, sir.
First off, let's talk a little bit about that move from defensive line to the middle linebacker. How did your responsibilities change, and what was one of the most difficult parts of making that move?
One of the most difficult parts of that was just If I moved earlier in the year, I think I would have been a little better because my reads, I just moved. I was like one step too slow. I felt like in the playoffs, I felt like I could have made plays if I was there all year, but I think I was just newer to the position, so I was a little step slower, so I didn't make the play.
Well, how did your preparation change? When you make that move, mentally and physically, did you kind of change how you got prepared for a game?
Yeah, watching film, as a D lineman, most of the time I would just watch the line. I wouldn't watch anything special. I just watch how they block, like certain plays. But when I moved to backer, I had to watch a little bit of everything. I had to watch like what routes they ran on pass, and then like what the lineman would do if they pulled, what were their tendencies.
Very good. Offensively, at the on the right side there of that line, I asked Cannon a little bit about did he have plays that he was lobbying for. Did you guys do that as linemen? I mean, did you have kind of maybe a specific set of plays where you're kind of your eyes lit up when those calls came in?
Besides our goal line where I'd get the ball, other than that, I kind of liked one-on-one pass blocking. I mean, it was just something I enjoyed. It was just a one-on-one battle, you and the other guy, who would win. That was just something I looked forward to every game.
So December 1st, the clock goes to 0 in the Class 3 football state championship. You guys are on top. You've won the state title. What's going through your mind, and who was maybe the first person you heard from? Maybe on a text or call or something like that.
The stuff that was going through my mind is I just didn't believe it. It was just unreal. It was a storybook. It was a storybook kind of ending. I mean, I didn't think after those 3 losses, I kind of was just nervous for our season because I didn't think at that rate I didn't think we'd win districts. But the first person I thought of was Denny Mills because right before we went out for the last last defensive drive, he kind of came up to me and hugged me and he said thank you. So that was the first person I thought of.
Outstanding. What's it been like being back at school and back in town as a state champion? What's the food taste better? All the soda tastes better. What's that like?
The food tastes the same, but that first week back, it was kind of surreal. All the whole community was supporting us. Like whenever we came back from the game, we walked through the street, and it was just unreal.
Outstanding. You're seniors. Well, what plans, if any, do you have for next year?
I plan on going to college for either physical therapy or sports management.
Any football in your future?
I don't think so. If anything, I'll go for baseball, but I'm not sure yet.
Any colleges that you're looking at, particularly?
Not really. Just I have to take into account my academic stuff. So if they give me my my major, I'm that's obviously a school I'd like to go to.
Outstanding. Well, again, gentlemen, and Coach Schweiss, on behalf of LiUNA Laborers Local 663, congratulations on a tremendous season and the Class 3 state championship. I've enjoyed visiting with you guys, and Coach Schweiss and I, like I said, we talked right before that Valley Catholic game, and you could kind of hear the despair a little bit, going into that contest, knowing the injuries that you guys had went through, and what a remarkable way to kind of come back and put a bow on this season. Congratulations on behalf of the Missouri Sports Network.
Thank you. Like I said, I appreciate it. I wish Kaysen and Job could have come down here today too, because that Job and Kaysen were a big part of what we did. Obviously, our other 2 captains, wish they could have got down here and advertised themselves and our school. But on behalf of all 3 of these guys and those 2, our captains, we appreciate your guys, taking time out to do this for us. It was very nice.
You bet. Always enjoyed it. And I've been following kind of from afar, throughout the season, and it's always nice to kind of put faces with names that you hear so much or you see so much on Twitter. But gentlemen, I hope you have a great day, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and God bless. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys do at the next level.
Thank you.
You too. Likewise.
You're watching the Missouri Sports Network on MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow. God bless.
Imagine a bank that goes where you go, creating seamless solutions for every step in your financial journey, allowing you to manage your money the way you want to, with a banking relationship that makes every day extraordinary. Imagine a world full of possibilities, always within reach. Central Bank. We do banking better.